Ready, start. The center has a duty not to bypass political leadership in dealing with states. Wielding power at the center comes with great responsibility. A major responsibility in a federal country with a strong centralizing features is to maintain the balance as well as mutual respect between political structures at the central and state levels. In particular, it is an obligation of the center to refrain from bypassing the elected leadership while dealing with states. Two recent developments have raised concern that the center wants to give instructions to official functioning under elected state regimes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has held two virtual meetings with district magistrates and state officials to review the COVID 19 situation. Under Education Minister Ramesh Pokhariya held a virtual meeting to discuss the national education policy and related matters such as the conduct of class 12 examinations with state secretaries in charge of education. While such meetings may help the Prime Minister or any union minister get some feedback from the field across India, it is quite unusual for leaders in the central political executive to bypass their counterparts in the states. The Tamil Nadu Minister for School Education, Anvil Mahesh Payamoji, took the right a stand by not deputing any official to represent the state in Mr. Pokhariyal's virtual interactions. The idea was not to boycott the meeting but to say the minister ought to have been included in a discussion on the NEP. The Prime Minister addressing district magistrates or collectors does have a precedent. Rajiv Gandhi addressed the heads of the district administration in Uttar Pradesh when it was under Congress rule on the issue of Panchayati Raj. The defense then was that such recent instructions were permissible under the Constitution, citing Articles 256 and 257. These provisions stipulate that the states are obliged to comply with law made by Parliament and also allow some restrictions from the union government. If the Prime Minister belongs to one party and the officials addressed are from a state run by another, there is bound to be resentment that the elected representatives of the state are being bypassed. In the present case, it is true that the center has a major role in the pandemic response. The Disaster Management Act has been invoked to specify guidelines on lockdowns, restrictions and relaxations, and to ensure a smooth medical supplies. However, it would be in the large interest of the country if events and discussions are held in such a way that the political structures at the state are not seen to be undermined. There ought to be no scope for complaints such as the one made by West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. That Chief Ministers felt humiliated when all of them were not allowed to speak to the PM in a virtual interactions. Stop. Ready? Start. Government must act fast to beat COVID's spread in villages. The strength lockdown declared in several states to contain the spread of coronavirus seems to be paying some dividend, as is evidenced by the gradual decline of the daily caseload numbers from a daily average of 4 lakh or above a week ago to below 3 lakh now. However, the daily death toll has shown no signs of easing. It hovers around 4,000 steadily for more than a week now. It is in this background that we must see reports about the second wave triggering India's villages, as admitted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a meeting with state chief ministers a week ago. I want to warn you about corona. The infection is spreading fast in villages. The Prime Minister has been quoted as telling the chief ministers and all the anecdotal evidence available points to the fact that rural India is finding it difficult to cope with it as everything is in short supply. The bodies that floated on river Ganga was an indication of the crisis that has gripped the villages. It is going to be a long and though game to play the various in rural settings, as every single factor is in its favor compared with the urban settings. The rural areas lack a health infrastructure. The testing hesitancy which is providing to be a major hurdle in the path of the health workers to identify the trouble spots is on the rise in the village due to many factors. The lack of awareness about the fatal nature of the infection and the trust in causes and their home remedies are going to be major obstacles in the efforts to contain the pandemic in the rural areas. Taking these factors together, the recent fall in numbers gives a realistic person very little reason to be optimistic about it. The government will have to quickly roll out a program for the rural areas, and the lack of a health infrastructure is going to be a major issue there. However, no challenge is in if there is political will. Top US public health expert on COVID 19 and former director of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, Anthony Fauci, is on record saying India must put to us all its national resources, including the military, to fight and to stop the virus spread. He has even gone on the suggest that the government make use of the services of the armed forces to get medical facilities available for its suffering population by building field hospitals. The government must consider the suggestions as it has little choice if it wants to save its massive rural population from falling victim to the barriers. The government must use all the tools available with it to convince to the people into dropping their testing hesitancy and joining the governmental efforts. This is easier said than done, but people following COVID protocol would be the most cost effective and efficient line of defense against the pandemic. There are experts who warn of a more fatal third wave, but the government must find ways to manage the wolf which is already at the door. Stop. Ready? Start. Anil informed tweet by Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal about a new coronavirus strain triggered a war of words between the central and state governments. Besides impacting diplomatic relations between India and Singapore, Kejriwal had on Tuesday claimed that a new variant orienting in Singapore, said to be very dangerous for children, could reach Delhi in the form of the third wave. He had urged the center to snap the air link with that country and work on vaccine alternatives for children on priority. Singapore's vehement denial showed the same in a poor light. The island city state's health ministry made it clear that the strain prevalent in many of the COVID 19 cases reported there in recent weeks was the B.1.617.2 variant, which had organized in India. The scare monitoring, which was entirely avoidable, left the India government red-faced, promoting External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to clarify that the Delhi CM did not speak of India. In another damage control exercise, the India High Commissioner rightly told that the Singapore government that Kejriwal had no competence to comment on COVID variants. The center simply could not afford to let the situation spin out of control. Considering that Singapore is a trusted ally, which recently came to India's aid by providing much needed medical oxygen, boosting a robust healthcare system. Singapore has handled COVID 19 pretty well so far, reporting just 30 deaths since early last year. However, a fresh spreading cluster has made the Southeast Asian country proactively impose tighter restrictions. including the closure of schools. With such a track record, it's natural for Singapore to get upset when somebody casts aspirations on it without rhyme or reason. Kejriwal should have done a thorough fact check before taking to social media and triggering a needless country worry in his overzealousness to make Delhi future ready. He should not lose sight of the immediate priorities to ensure that the capital has adequate oxygen, ICU beds, medicines, ceremonial, and vaccines during the ongoing second wave. He will also be well advised not to meddle in brutal affairs, which are the exclusive domain of the center. Stop.